Okay, sounds
Okay.
good. Hey, look at all those people filing in here. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Be sure to drop your name and where you're from in the chat, and uh, and I'm just going to roll right into just a little overview of who we are and why we're here, and then we'll get to talking to Shawn. So, for those of you who might be joining this briefing for the first time, welcome. I'm the executive director, Nick Knudsen, executive director of Demcast, and we are a 501c4 nonprofit organization that um, works to defeat right wing narratives online and spread pro democracy narratives online and help good candidates, get amplification in online spaces, and we do that by recruiting and training people like all of you to share pro democracy content online. And so we're a digital advocacy organization, and we have tens of thousands of people who've signed up to be volunteers with us. And I'm so glad that if this is your first experience with Demcast, that you found us here, because this should be a really good conversation. Uh, Today we are super excited to have Shawn Harris here. And Jamie, are you going to do an intro, or do you want me to intro?
You can intro.
Okay. So Shawn Harris is running in a special election to replace Marjorie Taylor Greene in her former Georgia district. It's the 14th, Shawn?
It's the 14th.
Right?
Yes.
14th.
Felicia.
And the election is March 10th, and so we'll go through all this stuff. But there's a lot of people running, on a couple of Democrats and about 74 Republicans. So we'll walk through sort of the state of play. But you guys have all seen in these special elections that anything can happen. It's all about turnout, and Shawn is a well-known commodity in the district at this point. He ran in the district last cycle against Marjorie Taylor Greene, and built up his name ID and his connection with the community from a candidacy standpoint. He is a longtime military man, retired, and also and very high ranking, by the way, brigadier general, if I'm
That is correct.
correct.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
and this is all from memory. Look at me.
And you're doing awesome.
And also is now a farmer, a cattle farmer,
Yeah.
in Georgia in his retirement years, and has thrown his hat into the ring here to try and uh, snatch this district for Democrats, but more importantly for his constituents, so that he can represent them effectively in Congress. So, Shawn, thank you so much for joining us. We're super excited to have you here today.
Hey, I'm excited to be on y'all guys' podcast or show. I'm not sure what it's called. And what I look forward to our conversation. I look forward to any questions. And I really just look forward to everybody's support, because right now we are in the fight. We are days away from early voting on the 16th, and the election day is on the 10th, like you already said. But I'll pause there and let you ask me any kind of question you want to.
Well, I think what everyone wants to know, because everyone thinks, Marjorie Taylor Greene's old seat, this isn't flippable, but um, it is.
Yes, 100% it is. And let me just tell a little bit about my background, and then I'll tell you how it's flippable. Like Nick mentioned, I spent a lot of years in the military. I spent 40 years in the military. Ended up being a brigadier general. That's a 1 star. Last assignment was Israel, but let's go all the way back to the beginning. In the beginning, I actually started in the United States Marine Corps, enlisted, went to Paris Island, got on the little yellow footprints. So I was started off as Private Harris. That's who I originally was, and worked my way all the way through the ranks. Got out, went to college there at Tuskegee University. The military helped pay for school. then came back and got back into the military. Um, Race went all the way through the ranks, and then 9/11 happened, and I think we all know the world completely changed. And then we got into a 20-year war, and it seems like it was just like 2 or 3 days. And the next thing I know, I went from being a lieutenant colonel to actually being a one-star general. But reason why I say all of that, none of that story is easy. None of it. And because none of that story is easy when to run in a ruby red district, I would not be running, especially for a second time, if we did not see a path
Mhm.
to win. Now, what you're here on TV and all the different things, it's hard. It's never going to be flipped. In my mind, the reality of it is, if we all work together and work hard, we have to work hard. This district is actually flippable, and the reason why I tell you it's flippable is because if you go back and look at the research, the last time I ran against Marjorie Taylor Greene, we got 135,000 votes. That's the most votes that any Democrat has ever received. But in that 135,000, 5% of the people that voted for Donald Trump actually voted for me. And those are Republicans. And this time, we actually have a greater percentage than that because people know that Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't do anything for them. And then on top of that, they also realizing that Donald Trump has lied to them over and over and over. And the 17 Republicans that I'm running against, they are not running to represent the people here in the district. They are running trying to get the favor of Donald Trump. And I'm the only candidate that's running to represent the people here in Northwest Georgia.
And you said you mentioned there's a whole sort of troop of Republicans who are running. How do elections work in Georgia? We've got people from
Yeah,
all
yeah.
over the
Well,
country here.
this is a special election, and when we say special, it's really a jungle primary, if you want to call it that. And what does that mean? Is this time it when we get to March 10th or February 16th on early voting, because we have early voting for 3 weeks.
Mhm.
But when we get there, when you walk in, you do not have to say that I'm a Democrat, Independent, or Republican. You basically just show your ID, get the ballot. All of us are on the same ballot. Every name is on the same ballot, and I think it's 22 of us. From that, whoever wins it with 50 plus one wins it flat out, or whoever gets the most votes out of the top two go into a runoff, and then that'll be in the April time frame. Um, um, what we have going on right now is, I think it's 16 Republicans that are running. Was 17. One just dropped out last week, but his name will still be on the ballot. Um, those 16 Republicans are right now fighting each other. So they're not even focused on me, even though the same polls that I look at, they look at, shows that I have a very good chance of winning this. And if you follow some of the conservative news stations, they talk about a Democrat has a chance to win this. If you look at the stations that we have, like MSN now, I think that's what it's called. They just talked about, I think it was Saturday or Sunday, that a Democrat got a chance to see it or win it. The key thing is nobody won't say my name. So it's just like when I ran against Marjorie Taylor Greene, but that's okay because you mentioned that it's 2 or 3 Democrats in this race. I want your people to know it, hear it directly from me. I am the only Democrat in this race because the other gentleman, he's from I mean, not from Grand Rapids. He's from Rome, Georgia. I won't say his name because I don't like being disrespectful. I'm a good guy. But the other gentleman thought that as a independent that he needed to get signatures to get on the ballot, and he posted himself and said that because there was so many Republicans in the race, he decided to run as a Democrat. I don't know your definition of a Democrat, but that's not a Democrat. He's an independent, and there's other independents that's running the race. The other gentleman, I will call his name. His name is Mr. Hobbs. Mr. Hobbs is a plant. Mr. Hobbs is a Republican that has already endorsed Bobby Carter to be our senator. And weeks before he actually went and paid his money to get on this thing, he was already posted all over social media and is a bona fide Republican. So the Republicans are trying to play some games to confuse the Democrats, but I'm proud to say that every county Democratic Party in its 10 counties and everything have endorsed me as a candidate. And that just didn't happen. That happened because we realized we're not going to let somebody else try to come in and split that vote. So we put out a clear message that there's only one Democrat in this race, and we plan on taking it and winning it here on March 10th.
I'll tell you, when Marjorie Taylor Greene retired, I immediately texted my good friend in Georgia and said, "Is there a shot?" And she responded, "If Shawn runs, we can flip this." She's like, "Only if he runs." And so I immediately went to social media and saw that you had announced. I went, "He's already announced." She's like, "Then we can flip this seat." So, so
We
that is, um, so, and I don't think this race is getting enough attention.
Well, it has in the last couple of weeks, it has really picked up a lot more steam. I think some of our news stations are trying to play it close to the vest and don't want to say one side or this side. But I think at some point here, real soon, um, um, organizations that support Democrats need to come on and everybody need to get a spine and say, okay, we can win this race. Because too many times, if you watch all the races that we just flipped and they continue to flip, if you go back and talk to the candidate and say, well, was anybody calling you before the day that you won? And they'll probably tell you, not too many. I think we should learn that if you want places to flip that mathematically, or somebody in Washington D.C. may say it's not possible. In my mind, you're overlooking the people on the ground, and right now on the ground, we got people out knocking on doors 7 days a week. We're not just doing this on Saturday at convenience. We got people that when they in between their job and a break, they going to knock on 10, 15 doors, because in order for us to win this thing, we got to get everybody out across the board. And the cool thing about Georgia, the 16th is President's Day, but President's Day in Georgia is we still get it off, but they actually use it on the 24th of December so that you don't have to go back to work between the 24th and Christmas. So for all practical purposes, all of our schools are shut down. Everybody's off the job. So we're using the 16th as a day that we're going to flood the polls and really get the numbers up. We're going to win early voting, but then we're not going to celebrate. We're going to then turn back around and win on election day also. And that's how
Love
we're going
that.
to win it.
So have you been going out and meeting with voters? What are the biggest issues that you're hearing about there?
Yes, I'm the only candidate, even when Marjorie is in the race. I'm the only candidate that I have done a town hall in all 10 counties. So I have went crisscross every little small town, you name it, I've been there. And when you come to my town halls, you don't have to sign up. You just show up and you can ask me any kind of question that you want. And I'll go on a limb and say it's probably 7,000 people in this district that got my direct phone number. And the reason why I give them my phone number, some people may say that's crazy, but if you're in the leadership business and I work for you, you should be able to call me. People are not going to call me just to tell me about a pothole. They want to call me because they said, look, I need to be able to talk to my congressman across the board. So what's the number one issue that we see out there? Is what Donald Trump says is not happening. It's affordability, period. Here, I don't know about everywhere else, but I do know everywhere else in the country, but specifically here in Northwest Georgia, our costs are out the roof. And when I say our costs are out the roof, it's hard to go to the grocery store and buy some milk, cereal, whatever else you need to buy. But because we are an agricultural community, many of our farmers are dependent on the ACA. So now they're having to make a decision between paying for health care because there's no subsidy over there, or paying to make sure you can feed your family. And then the third piece there is having generational jobs, or having jobs that pay you a livable wage, because most people actually work 2 or 3 jobs but still can't make ends meet.
Right.
So
Oh,
go ahead,
go
Kim.
ahead, Nick.
Oh, I was just going to say, so obviously affordability, uh, top top issue,
Hmm.
really across the country, I think,
And
and a
Nick,
lot
what
of
I should have just added on to that, I just didn't want to go too long,
uh-huh.
is
Oh, you're good.
healthcare. But
Mhm.
when I talk about healthcare, we talk about it in 2 different ways, because we're the rural community. And I want to make sure the audience understands.
Mhm.
Is I already mentioned the ACA, but we talk about healthcare, access to healthcare. We actually have hospitals. Yes, we have hospitals. The problem is we have the hospital, but we don't have the doctors, nurses, and the other special staff in the hospital. So hence, you get hurt, something happens, you go to the hospital, they try to stabilize you, but you either have to go to Chattanooga, Tennessee, or you have to go to Atlanta, Georgia.
Wow.
We live in a healthcare desert. So one of the things that we'll be working on is ensuring that we actually get more doctors in our hospitals. Just last week up in Murray County, little small, beautiful area, very rural, very poor. They got a not Murray County, Ringo, Georgia. Ringo, Georgia just got a brand new hospital, brand new. Well, guess what? Corporate America decided to change the insurance that everybody in the town has already had. They changed to a different company. So now nobody can go to the hospital because they don't actually have that insurance. And on top of that, because they had preconditioned things, are denying them. I would get to DC. I'm going to fight that, because guess what? That never would have happened in Atlanta, Georgia, because somebody would have been called to lunch and say, "What are you doing? We got hundreds of thousands of people." But they'll do that to a little small town because they're looking at the bottom line and trying to make some money.
Ugh.
Yes, yes. That's what we're dealing with in the rural community.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm out here in Oregon, but I know it's the same in rural communities across the country right
Yeah.
now, unfortunately. Um, so affordability in healthcare.
Mhm.
How are people feeling? Are people? What's the tone and the sort of feeling among your future constituents about like ICE and immigration? Is that
Yeah.
a major
You
issue
know,
too?
we I'm glad you asked me that question, because we you probably heard of a place called Dalton, Georgia. Dalton, Georgia is the carpet capital of the world. That's what it used to be called. Now they call it the flooring capital of the world, because now they make the floors that go in your kitchen and all those kind of things. But that town many years ago went to Mexico and actually brought people into Mexico that had the skills to make carpet, built them houses the whole 9 yards. Now, 50, 60 years later, they said they're actually illegal. But the kids were all born here. So we're dealing with ICE in Dalton, Georgia, West Rome, Somerville, and right here, right down the road from my house, Cedartown, Georgia. These are the areas that our higher Hispanic populations are. We have actually made the national news. I think if you remember, young lady was just driving home from school, and a cop pulled her over. Come to find out, the cop was biased. He pulled her over and she didn't do anything wrong, where the car in front of her actually one that ran the light. But
Well,
still, the fact remains, she was detained, her father was detained, and I think ultimately the father was deported out of the country. Now, with that being said, I have been to all the protests, and was going to the protests before they actually showed up on the news. And I go out and speak to the Hispanic community directly myself. One of the things that when I don't speak Spanish, but that's fine. We just had a great Super Bowl last night. When I go out there, I say to them, I've been taught to say, "I see you." When you say that in the community, everybody stops and they pay attention. And then everything that I have that comes out of our team is either in English or Spanish. So we make sure that we're speaking to all our communities across the board, and we make sure that we are linked up, because right now it's embarrassing that people are going out at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning to see where ICE is at so that they can call back and tell people, can you go to work or can you go to school? So that's we got the same issues. The unfortunate piece, or the fortunate piece, is um, things have been done kind of quietly here, but it has completely changed how people move around. Nobody really travels at night anymore. Everything's done during the daylight, doing normal workouts, and then people get home. And the unfortunate piece, I actually know outstanding Americans that live here in our community that are Americans, but because they're black and brown and maybe speak another language, they carrying a passport. And if you got to carry a passport, we got a problem. And then the last thing I'll say is this, from a military side of the house, or for somebody that worked for the government for a long time. If you kill Americans, then you know you done did something wrong. I don't care what you was doing. You have messed up. You need to pull back, reevaluate what we're doing, because our job is to protect the American people. Our job is not to kill the American people. And the Trump administration needs to rethink what they're doing. And hopefully we will we will get this immigration thing back down, because as you probably know, when President Obama was our president, he actually deported a whole bunch of people, but he did it with respect.
Mhm.
He followed the law, and you never actually heard much about it. Where versus under the Trump administration, we try to make everything a reality TV show.
Right.
It is too.
It is.
So, misinformation and hate are a huge issue within recent politics. How do you plan to work against that? And how will you plan to serve your constituents even if they disagree with you?
Yeah, first of all, the way I plan to address all the misinformation and hate and all those kind of things, one of the things I do right now as the candidate, once a week, I sit in the same chair from my basement and I talk directly to the people of Northwest Georgia for 1 hour. But when we say talk, just like the people on your screen right now, they can send in questions and ask me direct questions. I'm going to continue to do that when I'm their congressman from DC. And then when I come home, I'll put on town halls and say, come on in, let's have the conversation. In addition to that, like I told you, I think about 7,000 people got my phone number. It is my direct phone number. I just had a gentleman call me today and ask me a question. Somebody I met 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he said, I was just thinking about a certain thing, Shawn, and I just felt like calling you. And you actually answered the phone. And he said, regardless of what your answer is going to be, if I agree with it or not, just the sure fact that you answer the phone, you get my vote. So that is what I'm doing, because misinformation is a skill set. I want to make sure that people understand that we have a set of people, their job is to put out misinformation. That's what they do all day.
Yeah.
And as the congressman or as the representative, it's my job to make sure that they get the real skinny. And when I say the real skinny, in plain, everyday language, so that people can understand what we're doing. Because sometimes you can get to speaking too high and people don't understand what's actually going on.
Mhm.
Let's never have that problem. Never.
Jamie, do we have some Q&A questions? Shawn, do you have a minute that you need, a time that you need to be out of here?
I think we're supposed to be here for an hour, so about
Okay.
8 o'clock.
Okay.
But I will tell you the answer to that is yes. But if we're in the middle of a good conversation, let's go, man. I mean, at the end of the day, I really want everybody to say, hey, I don't care if they're in California, New York, wherever. I know Shawn Harris. I can call somebody about Shawn Harris. This is the right guy, because In order for us to win it, we need people calling on the phone, writing postcards, doing all of that hardcore work. It's not sexy, but it is the way that you actually can get people out to vote. I need that happening from all over the country. So I
We
have
actually
time.
had multiple questions on that. And in
Okay,
the
come
notes
on.
doc, I have dropped in, um, there is the link to his volunteer form, to his website, to all of his social media. Um, all of that is in the note doc. So,
That's why they call her
so
Jamie Carter.
Well, and I tell you, if they go there and fill out the stuff, my team is up and running right now at the headquarters. Shelly will see it instantly, and they'll probably be getting feedback tonight. And she'll say, you know, that Shawn Harris must be on another one of these podcasts somewhere.
People are calling us. Yeah.
People are calling. Well, and let me tell you this because I think it's kind of funny. All these years I did in the military, nobody really knew my name and knew my face. And the next thing I know, I get into politics and everybody knows my name and know my face. And like I said, I do that little come up on and I'm live and whatever. The team taught me how to push a button right there on that thing. So nobody knows when I'm coming on live. It's not like y'all guys maybe advertising, hey, we doing a show at so and so time. I come in here after a long day of work. If I got some energy left, I push the button. And the next thing I know, I'm live and 2,000-3,000 people on there. And then the staff say, we got a spike in volunteers last night. And I say, well, I pushed that button and I started talking to people. I had no clue who I was talking to, but I was talking.
I think this is a really relevant question. So we know Republicans are going to try to push through more voter suppression laws this week.
Yes.
And so what is happening in Georgia with their voter suppression laws? Because I know
Well,
in Utah they're trying some real shenanigans here.
yeah, we just made the national news. I think it was last week when Trump sent the FBI down here to get our voting
Right.
documents. And so what is currently happening from the Trump administration, I can't say what's actually happening down at the Dome. And the reason why I can't say that is because I had to tell my fellow Democrats, if you see me down at the Dome every day, then I'm not doing my job out here in the district and trying to get the Congress. But what I will tell you is the Trump administration is, by going to Atlanta, taking our voting stuff, is trying to intimidate people, trying to make sure that people lose faith in our voting system. What we are doing is making sure that people understand that everything is done here fair. The crazy part about this is it's Republicans that are saying to the president, everything is here is fair. It's just us as Democrats saying, yeah, we agree, everything is fair. Do we have some games played in Georgia? Yes. But that's why both sides got a whole bunch of lawyers and everybody's always standing by. We have poll watchers, all of that. For as my race is going to be happening here in the next week, to be honest with you, is we are fully prepared that everybody in the state and really around the world is going to be watching this race because we're the first election after Donald Trump came to Atlanta and took all the voter files. With that being said, Steve Bannon said that he wants to make sure that ICE is standing somewhere close to the voting locations. That is not for you and I not to come. He's trying to pass a message to the Hispanic community because they're worried that the Hispanic community has said, we're not voting Republican anymore. We're going a different direction. So we're watching all of those things. I am confident that we have the team in place, just like we do with every election, that everything will go along smoothly. Plus, I want to make sure that your audience understand that at least in our counties, the 10 counties I have, I am confident in every person that runs our election. They are all very professional. They all go through training. They allow the Democrats and Republicans to go through the training. So we all got our poll watchers and we're ready to go. our key thing is just getting the word out. Like we talked about earlier, misinformation. We have to we have to go against that and say, this is the facts. Please come out and vote. And that's what we're going to do.
I mean, personally, the more they try to suppress my vote, the more determined I am to vote.
Yes.
I will
Yes.
walk 5 miles in a snowstorm to vote this year. I don't
Yes.
care what it takes.
Yeah. And you
So,
know, that's the same thing that we're saying to everybody. Do not let anybody suppress your vote. But we do know, we're realistic, that for a special election, voter turnout is actually very low. However, it's actually a turnout game. And if we can turn out everybody that supports Shawn Harris, we'll win this thing all the time, every day. And I'm confident we're going to do it.
what is your opinion on ICE? Do you think it needs to be reformed, abolished? Can it be fixed at this point?
Yes, I thank you for that question. I let me say this. I knew ICE before this administration. I have friends that still work in ICE, still very professional, do a great job. What has happened to ICE, but what has actually happened to Homeland Security is the Trump administration has put people in charge of it across the whole board with his entire staff that are not qualified to do the job. Their job is to come in and destroy all of our organizations. So, what Shawn Harris would do when I get to Congress is not hurt the people that work there. What I want to do is the same thing that the Democrats are doing now. Bring in the reforms, bring them back into the rule of law, take those doggone masks off, put some cameras on them, and make sure they go back through training. Because I think what you're starting to see, some people will rush through training. And if you get rushed through training, you get nervous out there on the ground. You talking to a combat veteran. I've trained people all over the world. The way that you actually can slow things down and understand what's happening on the ground is outstanding training. And what I see coming out of ICE right now is people that are literally scared to be out there. And many of the people that we call in ICE, perhaps, are actually not even ICE. They from other agencies that don't even supposed to be doing a police role, but they've been put into a particular situation. And when they see a whole bunch of people protesting, they don't understand that that is the American way and it's going to be okay. And everybody's supposed to be able to go home at night and have a great day.
So, with Trump losing support on affordability, corruption, immigration, basically everything, do you think that some of the Republicans that are getting endorsed by him that actually might be more of a curse than a blessing at this point?
Well, I, I can't speak on that. What I can say is look at the track record. The track record here lately is if you get an endorsement from Trump, I'm not sure if that's helping you or not. What I will say is this, as far as here in the 14th, what makes us unique and special is that Trump number one cheerleader, Marjorie Taylor Greene, is in a all-out battle with Donald Trump. Every day they going at each other. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is not backing down. I think this past week, Marjorie Taylor Greene just said that MAGA was a lie. Marjorie said that MAGA always been paying people to go out and protest. She is saying that MAGA is not for the everyday people, but it's for billionaires, Donald Trump's friends. I think her exact words, for the people that actually are paying for the ballroom that he's trying to rebuild. Those are not my words. Those are Marjorie Taylor Greene's words. So as long as the Republicans are fighting amongst themselves, I let them fight. What I try to do is make sure I keep the Democrats, independents, and common sense Republicans laser focused on our mission of winning an election. That's what I'm focused on. I'll let them do whatever they want to do. That's their business. But every day we get up saying we're trying to win the day. And how do we win the day? Stay focused on what we're doing, because Donald Trump wakes up in the morning every day and he tries to give us something to talk about all day. The question is, when we're talking about that, what is he really working on? Mm-hmm. What is he really working on? What I, you know, I was on the show a few days ago, and the gentleman asked me about the thing that happened with the Obamas. Okay, it
Mhm.
bad, 100% bad. But what I said to him was this: yes, it's wrong. Yes, Donald Trump is a whole lot of things, and it should be condemned and all those kind of things. But I said, now as leaders, as long as we've been in this game, now as leaders, who, I don't know if I can say a bad word, but I'm going to say it. Who in the hell has figured out, stop looking at what he did right now and figure out what is he hiding from the American people? So the way I answered that question that day is, hell yeah, that was bad to do that to the Obamas. But what actually happened that day that he did not want us to be talking about or paying attention to? And a lot, if you go back and look, a lot of things came out that day, but it did not catch the news cycle because we were talking about something else. And oh, by the way, the Obamas, just like me, it's not the first time somebody's tried to do some foolishness like that, and it won't be the last. The only difference was this time was the president of the United States, and
Right.
guess what? He still hadn't apologized. But that speaks to his character.
Lack thereof. No.
He don't have any, but he's consistent.
He is
He is
consistent.
consistent. I mean, that's the piece that kind of surprised me why people were. I understand why they were getting upset, but you got to
Yeah.
go back to the root.
Right.
Donald Trump has been this way for a long time, so this is nothing new. Give
Yeah.
him a few more weeks, he'll do something else.
For weeks.
Hey,
Hours. Yeah.
hours, minutes.
Jamie,
So
did
kind
you
of
have more that
following
you had?
up on going back to kind of voting, what is the best way to help educate voters so that they can protect themselves against any type of voter suppression? Should we be encouraging people to check their voter registration
Yeah.
status? Um, making sure they have plans to vote, and will people in the district mind getting calls about this kind of stuff from out of the district?
Hmm.
No, no, they don't mind. Only thing I would say to you is when Shelly sets you up to call, and please don't take this the wrong way, world. Um, but if you don't have some twang in your voice, we probably gonna have you do a postcard because it is some people in my district say, well, where are you calling me from? You sound a little bit different. But the main part of your question is this: we are already messaging and into the phone calls and doing everything that we possibly can across the board to make sure that people check their voter registration right now. Because in the great state of Georgia, if you miss X amount of elections, they take you off the roll. And when I say miss X amount of elections, say for instance, if the last election that I was in with Vice President Harris, but it might have been three or four little bitty small city council, school board. If you miss those, then you could very well not be on the rolls to vote for me this time. So we're constantly educating people to go back, check their stuff all the time, which they do. And then on top of that, make sure that they know, because our dear friends constantly change the maps and stuff, to know exactly where they're supposed to go and vote and win. So that's an ongoing discussion across the board. But I am confident that we have the state, not only just my team, but the state actually helps us with that. They have a whole set of people that's the only thing they do all day for us, is making sure that people know the rules and know how to look up where they're actually supposed to vote and if they can vote. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, if the day is the 9th of February, I think the day is the 9th of February, today was the last day to get registered to vote in this special election.
Hmm.
If the day is the 9th.
It is.
So it was today was a if that is the case, today was a very big push, because we had a lot of high school kids who couldn't vote for me last time, but however they old enough to vote this time, even though they're still in high school.
High school kids across this country have been impressive with these walkouts.
Yes, we have had kids, high school students throughout our district who have actually did walkouts, and I'm very impressed with them. Same thing at our universities. I think later on this week I'm going to speak at Berry College, and that's up in Rome, and they are very engaged in what's currently going on in the United States. And just like right before I jumped on with y'all guys, I saw on the news where our Olympians are speaking out on
Yeah.
what's going on
Mhm.
back here in the States. So I think our young people are saying enough is enough, and our young people are getting more and more engaged in their own way.
Have you been working with the groups like Vote Vets or Common Defense on your
Mhm.
campaign?
All day, every day.
Mhm.
I love those guys. Those guys are family. I mean, um, Common Defense or with me here on the ground. They we do things together, but they knock on doors with me. We talk to all the vets. Vote Vets is my I call those my upper echelon. They help me with all of my they put out stuff for us, but on top of that, because I've been endorsed by both organizations, we look at Vote Vets stuff and we share some of that stuff with our veterans across the board. So I look at those two organizations as being part of my greater family. That is our umbrella to our veterans in our district. Is roughly about 40,000 veterans in the district.
Wow.
Most of them are from the Vietnam time frame and then up to my generation. But and you know we're all on the spectrum when it comes to the way that what t-shirt we got on. But one of the things I will say, our veterans, none of them like what actually happened to Senator Kelly. And that has been a rallying cry that I'm hearing from many of our veterans. And later on this week, I'll be talking to a lot of veterans across the board here in the district. But Vote Vets and Common Defense, we are just like that, and will always be like that. When I say always be like that, you said earlier that everybody was happy that I ran again. Okay, great. Um, the I'm going to do what's right for the American people and do what's right for the people here in Northwest Georgia. But if the good Lord says, Shawn, you don't supposed to be a congressman, okay, that's fine. I never played in the NBA or I never played in professional football. That's okay. But one thing I will be able to do is work with Vote Vets or Common Defense if I don't end up in Congress. So I'm basically telling you, if I don't end up in Congress, I'm not just going to sit here in the basement and cry. You're going to see me with one of those organizations out there trying to help other candidates, other leaders get in the game because I believe, and there's a bias, that our veterans got a lot of leadership ability. They know how to deal with stress. They know how to lead. And I think we need to get more and more of them into running for something at all levels across the board.
At our ICE Out
Love
protest,
that.
I had a veteran come up to me and said that it was his very first protest he'd ever been to. Um, but he was so worried about the direction of our country that he's like, I had to come out because I can't stand by idly. I swore an oath to the Constitution. And he goes, I've never come out to anything like this. So,
Ma'am, I'm with you. The reason why I'm
yeah.
smiling is I went from being General Harris in Israel. Went from, if your audience want, if they Google President Biden visiting Israel, when he comes off the plane, is a beautiful black man that's standing at the bottom of the steps that salutes him. That's me. I went from being that guy to coming home, starting a cattle farm. The next thing I know, I'm running for Congress. And the next thing I know, I'm at a protest and they say, General Harris, come on the stage. I didn't get a chance to ease into it. I went from General Harris in the military to, wait a minute, I think I was in Massachusetts somewhere at a 50-51 protest on the stage talking. And I'm like, man, I guess I just jumped into the deep water. I'm in. I'm all in.
The cat agrees with your message.
So hey, I've told plenty of veterans,
Yeah.
we got to, if we don't stand up for ourselves, if we don't stand up for the Constitution, nobody else will, because all of us that are veterans, we have raised our hands so many times. We fought for the country. We can't just sit on the couch and let it just slip away.
So here, money. What does the campaign need more money to be able to do?
Yeah, and I thank you for that. You know, the money piece that we need now. Well, let me back up. I want to just say thank you to any and everybody who's given to our campaign. The great thing about our campaign, the average contribution is $27.74, if I remember correct. So small dollar donations. What I need help with today is paying for more TV time. I know that sounds crazy, but in our district, my district is split between two TV hubs. One is Atlanta, Georgia, and the other one is Chattanooga, Tennessee. I can afford Chattanooga, Tennessee, but Chattanooga, Tennessee only talks to the northern part of our district, so it doesn't even touch Rome. Atlanta touches Rome, where I live here in Polk County, and then back toward Paulding, and then back to West Cobb. And for your audience to better understand, our district turns blue or turns more blue when it gets to Rome and started heading that direction. So if
Mhm.
we can get help to help us pay for more TV ads coming out of those two arenas, specifically Atlanta, because that is where our blue candidate or our blue voters are, is in the lower part of our district. And when I say in the lower part of our district, Paulding County, I know most people will say, I don't know what Paulding County is, but Paulding County is a county now that is now 50% blue. So it flipped that way. So if we can get everybody to come out in Paulding County and West Cobb and Floyd County, we can easily flip this district. The key thing is just making sure that they're aware. And we're now running a TV thing right now. People excited. I'm just not sure is how much longer I'm gonna be able to keep it on TV.
Well, you got Paulding County in the chat right there. So
Are they already in the chat? Look at there. Did they say thank you, Sean, for calling out Paulding County?
What are the odds?
we're wrapped up on questions. So Nick, do you
So
have
great.
anything or?
No, Sean, I guess I'd say, we're we're a national organization and a batch of volunteers, some clearly from your area, but a lot of people from not in your area. We've got all your links for helping out, from donating to phone banking,
Yeah.
if you can, if you got the voice for it, to
Everybody got the voice for it. They got it. That's
to
fine.
postcards.
Anybody can add a twang to their voice.
Yeah, for sure. And is there, if people are volunteering on your behalf, and they're contacting people, in your district to try and get them to turn out for you,
Mhm.
like, is there like one key message or frame about you as a candidate or as a human being, that
Yeah.
you want to make sure is included when they're talking to people?
And what I would say is when you sign up to volunteer, Shelly and that team, they give you kind of like a canned piece. It's probably better than what I give you. But the bottom line, if you telling them that Shawn Harris is a leader that cares about people first, Shawn Harris is somebody that's going to be working for everyday hardworking people, everybody in this district, regardless of Democrat, Independent, or Republican. And then the other piece is Shawn Harris wants you to hold me accountable. Now, when you talk to Shelly, they'll have it a lot more smoother than that. But when I'm actually out on the campaign trail and I'm actually out there every day, that is the real stuff that comes out of my mouth. And 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 at the end of the day, I want people to know who the real Shawn Harris is. And that's why we do these things here, because I think too many times politicians allow the staff to frame them so much that when you meet the real person, it doesn't even look like the person that you're supposed to be talking about. So at the end of the day, I'm going to fight for everybody in this district because Marjorie, when she held the seat, she was only focused on Mega and left everybody else out. And I
Mm.
think that's why people are coming to us is because we're giving them hope. I know you heard that from other campaigns, but I think here in Northwest Georgia, the people really want hope. They really want somebody's going to look out for them, and that's what I plan on doing. And that's the only reason I got back in the race. Um, I love being a cattle farmer. I love it. It's the best thing since sliced bread. Um, but right now our district is in great need of leadership. Our district is in great need of a lot of things. And I think with the good Lord's help and the skill sets that I've already achieved over my career, I think I can get to DC, reach across the aisle, work with people on no matter what spectrum they're on, and actually get things done. And that's what I plan on doing. And like I'm not sure if I said it earlier, I believe in term limits. Um, I'm not taking any money from APAC. I'm not taking any money from nobody, because nobody can buy Shawn Harris. And my mom told me before she passed away, she said, be humble, be humble. So all them degrees and all that other kind of stuff. Usually when people start introducing me, I tell them just stop and just say my name is Shawn Harris. I'm a husband, I'm a grandpa, and I'm a farmer, and that's about all you need to say, because all the rest of that stuff is fluff.
Love it.
I know we've had a bunch of people ask. Yes, we will have a social media toolkit on the special election.
Okay.
We do digital. So yes, we will have that.
Yep.
So Shawn, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Um, I mean, watching some of these races that, you know, I mean, these are 17 races that are going for the Democrats by 14, 15, 16 points in the
Uh-huh.
last few weeks is just, you know, this is how we save our country is by
Yeah.
electing people who care. So
Well, I would tell you, I don't want to get in front of myself, but can you imagine if CNN and Fox News both say that Shawn Harris has just won the seat in the 14th, flip Marjorie, because it's not my seat. It's always going to be Marjorie Taylor Greene's seat. Flip Marjorie Taylor Greene's seat, and now the seat is blue. But I need to let everybody know the seat won't be blue; it'll just be pink because we got a lot of Republicans in our district, and that's just fine. But we can do it if all of us are working together. And I believe come March 10th, about 9, 10 o'clock at night, we're going to get an announcement that's going to say, hey, they did it. A Democrat did win the 14th, and everything was true. And even the Republicans were saying it, and the Democrats were saying it, and it actually came true. So thank you for letting me get on your show. Anytime you want me to come back, the answer is yes. And when we win it, I want y'all guys to come back again because we all need to celebrate together. Because guess what? Winning this election means you turn right back around on March 11th, because I think a few days later I got to register for the primary, and then I got to run
Right.
again in November. So
Yep.
welcome, welcome to Northwest Georgia. We got a lot more elections to go.
The election cycle never ends,
Never ends.
as we've all learned. Okay, well, Shawn, I think you've got a big batch of people here who are super excited to help try to get you across the finish line here. We can't thank you enough for joining us, and best of luck in the final month here before the election.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a great
thanks,
day.
Shawn.
Thank you,
Bye bye.
everybody.
Bye bye.
And then a couple things for everyone before we head out. Don't forget March 28th, No Kings 3.0. So save the date. The map will go live probably next week, right around President's Day. Um, so, and it should be a very big population as soon as the map goes live. And then stay tuned because Republicans will be trying to push forward their new Save 2.0 Act this week. So stay tuned because there will be a social storm on that this week. I have already put in there the letter that you can send to your congressman and senator. And in the doc, I also have some of the latest talking points on the Save 2.0 ICE funding, all of that. The talking points are in there this week. So
Great. Awesome.
all right. You have anything else to add, Nick?
I don't. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll swing back to our next briefing. What's that? 2 weeks, 14, the 23rd ish. That sound about right?
I have no idea.
and
That's why it's in my calendar. If it's not in my calendar, it just doesn't exist anymore.
yeah, for real. And yeah, keep an eye.
And New Jersey special election is April 16th. We are still waiting for who our candidate is though. Because the primary results still have not been called. So
all right. Okay, everybody, go have a good night.
all right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.